the world is witnessing a historic economic transformation. Two Asian giants, China and India, are rapidly emerging as global powerhouses. China, the sleeping giant, has awakened with its massive manufacturing base and aggressive economic reforms. India, the world's largest democracy, is also on the move, fueled by its booming IT sector and a young, dynamic workforce. This essay will delve into the economic landscapes of China and India in 2004. We will analyze their strengths and weaknesses, comparing their growth trajectories and identifying the key drivers behind their successes. By examining these factors, we aim to provide insights into which country is better positioned for accelerated growth in the years to come. To assess the economic might of China and India, we will consider several key metrics. China's economic prowess is evident in its double-digit GDP growth rates and dominance in global manufacturing. India boasts a thriving services sector and a large pool of skilled labor. This comparative analysis will shed light on the complexities of these two economic giants. In the early years of the 21st century, China's economic transformation has been nothing short of remarkable. Once a closed economy, China has embraced market reforms, attracting massive foreign investment and unleashing the entrepreneurial spirit of its people. This dramatic shift has propelled China to the forefront of the global economy. China's economic rise has been accompanied by significant advancements in technology. Recognizing the importance of innovation, the Chinese government has made substantial investments in research and development. These efforts have yielded impressive results, with China emerging as a leader in areas like high-speed rail, 5G networks, and electric vehicles. China's economic miracle has been built on the back of its massive manufacturing sector. With its low labor costs, abundant resources, and favorable government policies, China has become the world's factory floor. This manufacturing prowess has been a key driver of China's economic growth, creating jobs and lifting millions out of poverty. However, China's dominance in manufacturing has not been without its critics. Some argue that China's export-led growth strategy has come at the expense of other countries, particularly in the developing world. While China was establishing itself as the world's factory, India was quietly carving its own path to economic success. By the early 2000s, India's service sector had emerged as a major growth engine. Unlike China's manufacturing-centric model, India's economy was increasingly driven by services, with sectors like IT, telecommunications, and finance experiencing rapid expansion. This combination of a skilled workforce and supportive policies allowed India's service sector to flourish. At the heart of India's service sector, surge was the remarkable growth of its IT industry. Indian software engineers and IT professionals gained global recognition for their technical prowess, work ethic, and cost-effectiveness. This led to a surge in demand for Indian IT services, with companies worldwide outsourcing their software development, IT support, and back-office operations to Indian firms. The IT boom had a transformative impact on the Indian economy. One of India's most significant advantages in the global economic race is its young and growing population. With more than half of its population under the age of 25, India boasts a demographic dividend that could propel its economic growth for decades to come. This young and vibrant workforce provides India with a competitive edge. While China's economic rise has been driven by a top-down authoritarian model, India's journey has been shaped by its democratic institutions and values. India's vibrant democracy provides a system of checks and balances, encourages public discourse, and ensures a free press. These factors contribute to a more transparent and accountable system, fostering long-term stability and sustainable growth. China's economic miracle, while transformative, has not been without its challenges. One of the most pressing issues facing China is the growing disparity between its urban and rural populations. While coastal cities have boomed, the Chinese countryside has lagged behind, grappling with poverty and limited opportunities. This urban-rural divide poses a significant threat to China's long-term stability. China's rapid industrialization has come at a significant environmental cost. The country's reliance on coal-fired power plants and its booming manufacturing sector have resulted in severe air and water pollution. Recognizing the severity of these challenges, the Chinese government has begun to take steps to address environmental degradation. China's economic model relies heavily on exports, particularly to developed countries like the United States. While this export-oriented growth strategy has fueled China's economic rise, it also makes China vulnerable to fluctuations in global demand. To reduce its vulnerability to external shocks, China needs to rebalance its economy, shifting towards domestic consumption. This requires boosting domestic demand by increasing household incomes and promoting the growth of the service sector. By 2004, the intricate dance between the United States and China had become a defining feature of the global landscape. The US, the established superpower, watched with a mix of awe and apprehension as China's economic dragon soared. This complex relationship, marked by both cooperation and competition, would play a pivotal role in shaping China's economic trajectory. The US provided a vital market for Chinese goods, fueling its export-led growth. India's ambition to become a global economic powerhouse faced a formidable obstacle: its creaking infrastructure. In 2004, the country's roads, ports, airports, and power grid struggled to keep pace with the demands of a rapidly growing economy. Inadequate infrastructure created bottlenecks that hampered productivity and discouraged foreign investment. Addressing India's infrastructure deficit required a massive infusion of capital, technological expertise, and political will. India's labyrinthine bureaucracy, a legacy of its colonial past, presented another formidable hurdle to economic progress. The country's complex web of regulations, permits, and licenses stifled entrepreneurship, discouraged foreign investment, and slowed decision-making. Navigating this bureaucratic maze could be a frustrating and time-consuming ordeal for businesses, often involving multiple layers of approval and endless paperwork. Small and medium-sized enterprises, the backbone of many economies, faced particular challenges in India's bureaucratic environment. Obtaining the necessary permits and licenses to start and operate a business could be a daunting task, often requiring entrepreneurs to navigate a complex and opaque system. The burden of compliance fell disproportionately on smaller businesses, stifling innovation and job creation. Reforming India's bureaucracy was essential for unleashing the country's economic potential. Streamlining regulations, simplifying procedures, and promoting transparency were crucial for creating a more business-friendly environment. Addressing corruption within the bureaucracy was also vital for building trust and attracting investment. While India celebrated its economic achievements, a vast segment of its population remained mired in poverty. Despite rapid GDP growth, the benefits of this progress had not been evenly distributed, leaving millions of Indians behind. Deep-rooted social inequalities, particularly those based on caste, religion, and gender, continued to hinder social mobility and limit opportunities for a significant portion of the population. Access to quality education and healthcare remained a distant dream for many Indians, particularly those living in rural areas and urban slums. The lack of adequate sanitation, clean drinking water, and basic healthcare facilities perpetuated a cycle of poverty and ill health, trapping generations in a vicious cycle. Bridging this divide within required a multi-pronged strategy that addressed both economic and social inequalities. Investing in education, healthcare, and social safety nets was crucial for providing opportunities for all Indians to improve their lives. Addressing discrimination based on caste, religion, and gender was essential for creating a more just and equitable society. Section 4. The challenge of inclusiveness. India's economic progress in the early 21st century presented a paradox. While the country experienced impressive GDP growth, driven by its booming IT sector and a burgeoning middle class, millions of Indians remained untouched by this prosperity. This stark reality highlighted the challenge of achieving inclusive growth, ensuring that the benefits of economic progress reach all segments of society. The gap between rich and poor continued to widen, with a small elite accumulating vast wealth, while a significant portion of the population struggled to make ends meet. This disparity fueled social tensions and raised concerns about the sustainability of India's economic model. The challenge for India was to translate its economic growth into broad-based development, creating a more equitable and just society for all its citizens. Addressing this challenge required a shift in focus, from a narrow emphasis on GDP growth to a broader approach that prioritized human development. Investing in education, healthcare, and skill development, particularly for marginalized communities, was crucial for creating a more inclusive society. Empowering women, promoting entrepreneurship, and ensuring access to finance for all could unlock the potential of every Indian and create a more prosperous and equitable future for all. As we have seen, China and India in 2004 presented compelling yet contrasting narratives of economic advancement. China, the assertive dragon, had embraced a model fueled by manufacturing prowess, technological ambition, and a seemingly insatiable global appetite for its products. Its growth, often described as breathtaking, had propelled it to the status of an economic powerhouse, captivating the world with its sheer scale and speed of transformation. India, in contrast, was steadily gaining momentum as the elephant, its growth trajectory marked by a burgeoning service sector, a youthful and energetic workforce, and the inherent dynamism of its democratic system. While its economic indicators might not have matched the sheer velocity of China's ascent, India's strengths lay in its adaptability, its human capital, and its embrace of a knowledge-based economy. But this was not simply a race for supremacy, a binary question of which giant would outpace the other. Both nations, despite their divergent approaches, were grappling with internal challenges that would ultimately shape their trajectories. China's economic miracle cast a shadow over its widening rural-urban divide, the environmental consequences of its rapid industrialization, and its dependence on a global trade order in constant flux. India, too, faced its own set of hurdles, from its creaking infrastructure and bureaucratic bottlenecks to the persistent specter of poverty and inequality that belied its overall economic progress. The question then became not merely who was ahead, but how effectively each nation could navigate its own unique set of challenges to harness its full potential. The year 2004 offered a snapshot, a moment frozen in time in the midst of a dynamic and ever-evolving global economic order. Projecting forward required not just extrapolating from existing trends, but understanding the underlying forces shaping these two Asian giants. China's export-oriented model, while undeniably successful, hinged on the sustainability of global demand and its ability to navigate increasingly complex geopolitical dynamics. India's service-driven economy, on the other hand, while vulnerable to global economic downturns, possessed an inherent adaptability and a demonstrated ability to carve out niches in the global marketplace. Its success would depend on its ability to overcome its infrastructural deficits, streamline its bureaucracy, and create a more inclusive model of growth that benefited all segments of its vast population. The metrics, while important, told only part of the story. China's impressive GDP figures masked the disparities within, the environmental costs of its progress, and the potential fragility of an economic model reliant on external forces. India's numbers, though seemingly less impressive, hinted at a nation on the cusp of transformation, its potential constrained by internal bottlenecks rather than a lack of inherent capability. The question of who might accelerate faster was thus a complex one, contingent on a multitude of factors, both internal and external. It was a question best answered not with definitive pronouncements, but with nuanced analysis, recognizing that the future, while rooted in the present, remained unwritten and subject to the unpredictable currents of global economics and geopolitics. Looking ahead, the paths of China and India promise to be intertwined yet distinct. Their economic destinies will be shaped not just by their internal dynamics, but by their interactions with each other and with the rest of the world. Competition, collaboration, and codependence will likely characterize their relationship as they navigate the complexities of the 21st century. China, seeking to maintain its momentum, will need to address its internal imbalances, transitioning from an export-driven model to one fueled by domestic consumption. Its ability to innovate, move up the value chain, and embrace sustainable practices will determine its long-term economic viability. Moreover, navigating its relationship with the United States and other major powers will be crucial for securing its place in the global order. India, with its youthful population and entrepreneurial spirit, has the potential to emerge as a global economic powerhouse. Unleashing this potential will require sustained investment in education, infrastructure, and institutional reforms. Creating a more inclusive society where the benefits of growth reach all citizens will be essential for long-term stability and prosperity. The rise of China and India is reshaping the global economic landscape, creating both opportunities and challenges for the rest of the world. Their success will depend not just on their individual strengths, but on their ability to cooperate, compete, and coexist in a rapidly changing world. The economic ascent of China and India signifies more than just the rise of two nations. It represents a fundamental shift in the global balance of power. As these Asian giants flex their economic muscles, they are challenging the established economic order, demanding a greater voice in international institutions, and reshaping the rules of global trade and finance. This shift is creating both anxiety and opportunity around the world. Developed countries, accustomed to their dominant position, are grappling with the implications of a multipolar world where power is more diffuse and the rules of the game are constantly evolving. Developing countries, on the other hand, see the rise of China and India as a source of hope, a potential counterweight to the influence of the West. The world is watching closely as this drama unfolds. Will China and India become engines of global growth, lifting millions out of poverty and ushering in a new era of prosperity? Or will their rivalry destabilize the global order, leading to conflict and economic uncertainty? Only time will tell. One thing is certain, the world will never be the same. The rise of China and India is a transformative event, with far-reaching implications for the global economy, geopolitics, and the future of humanity. Understanding the forces at play and the choices ahead is essential for navigating the challenges and opportunities of this new world order.